I'm caffeinated, I'm on my feet, I'm on the floor, I'm good to go.
Power on.
I'm gonna mute that because otherwise it gets to be a lot to talk over.
Volume low. Mute.
All right. So here we go, Saber class. I'm always happy, Juju. All right, so the first warm up, we're doing one hand, just the base hand or the anchor hand. And after we've done about 10 of those, then we're gonna switch. We do about 10, coming down that center line. And I wanna have as nice, clean, and true a cut as I can. Sonny, it's good to see you. Good. Forward and back. Oop. That's what I get for putting my hand on the button. And then after we've done about 10 of those, let's do that. Yeah, that makes it a little cooler. Chris, how you doing, buddy? I do a Friday live lightsaber class now. Folks, if you are not following my friend Chris, the Star Wars lawyer, make sure you do that. He is good people. I am living in interesting times, Chris. All right, let's see. All right, we did the forward and back. Now we're going to do the turn. And so with this one, we don't do, there's not advancing or retreating footwork. You just turn. So you have one foot in front of the other. And what you're going to do is you lift your heels and turn on the balls of your feet. All right, and so I'm going to lift. I do my strike. As I lift, I'm going to turn. And then I strike, lift and turn. All right, and we're going to do 10 of those. I am so tired of living through unprecedented historical events. And I really overdid it sparring Wednesday night. So I'm feeling it today, guys. So anybody else that is just a little bit more creaky than normal, that is okay. You are in good company. Oh. All right. Fingers, I love it. All right, so I promised KB leg day. And so the leg day we are gonna do, let's go to a different color for leg day. I feel like orange is a little bit too joyful for leg day. Lupin, good to see you, buddy. Now, one of the things for anybody that does lightsaber content or anybody that films it or whatever, Brooke, nice to see you. You'll notice, like looking at just this, it's really hard for the camera to pick up the color because it's emitting so much light. But as soon as you put something in frame that it casts light onto, it helps your brain fill in the details about what color this should look like. And so that's something to keep in mind when you're recording. And so like, if I'm here, I've got it dark enough, it casts a little bit on me. But this really helps. So, Chris, I'll see you later. It was good to hear from you. All right, everybody, leg day as promised. And so we're gonna start with, you're basically gonna do a twist behind, okay? This is a pixel, but I have both on the site. I use a pixel when I'm doing the exercise stuff because the blade's heavier. And so then you get more resistance for, everything you're doing. And so start with hips, shoulders square, and you're gonna take 1 foot behind so that knees bend twisting, okay? And we wanna drop vertically down. So I don't wanna bow. I wanna stay upright so that my knees have to bend, and then I come back up, okay? And so, I lift as I drop, and then I'm gonna come up and strike down. Lift, and then I'm gonna twist to the other side, up, strike down. Johnny, nice to have you. Now, anytime you're doing deep leg bend, okay? Anytime you're doing that, pay attention to the sensations you have inside your knee joint, okay? And so like if your muscles are straining and your muscles are delivering pain signals to the brain, then like that's kind of why you're exercising, okay? But if it's inside the joint, then you need to pay attention to your form. You got to pay attention to your technique. So like as I do this, if my knee is projecting past my toe, right? If I'm here, then I'm going to start to feel it kind of underneath my kneecap, underneath my patella. That's something I have to be really careful about. Thank you for the follow. Lupin, I'll take that one in a second. Let me finish up this exercise. So, down, up, down. Lift, down, up, strike. Okay? Move about here so I fit the frame better. Whoa. That's not good. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. I wasn't supposed to do those yet. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I missed a couple of questions. Night arms, thank you. Okay. Lupin. My feelings on the Saber forms are not going to be popular, but basically like I don't really like any of them because when you read them the way that they are kind of descriptions of martial arts that we practice in our own world, in some cases either by people that haven't practiced those arts or people that are describing what those arts look like rather than describing how they work, and like what the mechanics are. Yeah. Okay. And so we did our 10 twist cuts. You guys are getting a pitch for the martial arts school. And now we're going to take the same twist squat, but we're going to change the cycle. So what will happen is as we go down into the twist is where we're going to strike. And then as we come up, we're going to lift up. Elspeth, I'm kind of in that zone. I've evolved a little bit past that. I used to be like, I was super pedantic in my youth, and I thought the forms were stupid because I was really judgmental about the genesis of them and other stuff. But like at this point, there's a really big martial arts community of people that put into practice like crafting actual system around the words that are used to describe the forms. And those are people that put in a lot of work and really care and try, like that online community. There are aspects of how they are discussed that as a professional martial artist, I'm not fond of. But like if somebody's working out and they're having fun, like they're not hurting anybody. They're not like, they're not doing anything that affects my life in any kind of way. And that was part of my being able to like recognize that I was being judgmental with stuff that I said about the forums in my youth and some other stuff like that. All right. So now the other twist squat. Okay, so for this one, same idea, but what we're gonna do is you lift on the rise, and then on the drop, you cut. And so lift on the rise, drop and cut. All right? Now, for everybody that's doing these and following along, if you haven't done a lot of leg work, all right, if this is the most leg exercise you've done in a while, you're gonna reach a point where your leg muscles are going to object so strongly that your form starts to break down, okay? And so if you go to drop down and your form breaks, okay, like you're feeling stuff within your knee or whatever, then don't go down as far. And so we're gonna preserve the idea of the motion. We're just gonna take away some of that full extension. Okay, I'm gonna swap out this hoodie really quick in just a second, guys. And Elspeth, especially if you are in the process of pursuing, so for everybody that is non-martial artist or whatever, so like normally black belt means you have mastered the basics of a style. And so most systems, being a black belt in that system means that you've kind of mastered the basic foundation of that system is sort of how it's like what that benchmark is, okay? And so simultaneously pursuing mastery of basics in multiple systems can be really, really difficult because the geometry is different and things change a lot. And so if you haven't foundationally mastered something yet, then pursuing something else at the same time can be really difficult. Like it can mess with you, especially if you don't necessarily have a lot of background in combat arts. Like if you've already got a black belt in something, then if you're pursuing, if you're dabbling in some other stuff, that won't necessarily cause you as much challenge. But it really can. It just sort of depends on the individual and it depends on the systems. Because sometimes learning languages, if you are studying multiple simultaneously, they can help you remember them. If your brain works a little bit differently, or your experience with languages or your understanding of grammar or whatever, it can be really, really difficult to have multiple ones that you're trying to chase at the same time. It just depends. Same thing with a musical instrument. If you're learning, several at once, sometimes for some people it can help them to have things that they're learning in parallel to each other. But for other people it's really difficult. Yeah, and so the person mentions that they are doing SCA rapier and Saber, which it looks like, I don't think so. Neither of those are the Olympic rules. which there's a lot more overlap in the Olympic styles. Like these are two that, like, the meta is super different. And so then what you practice within the meta is really, really different because, you know, it's just sort of how that works. All right, now, I gotta flick this light on for the incoming TRX class, so we'll get that done really quick. All right, and so now we're gonna do the cut on the drop and the lift on the rise. And so you start with your feet about shoulder width, okay? It does not have to be too exacting. I'm going to lift first, and then as I twist and drop, that's where the strike happens. And then as I drive my way back up, I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. There's 2. There's 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. All right. Everybody that's joining in, thank you very much. Okay. We're gonna do calves next. And so for this, we're gonna stand with our heels together and our toes pointed out. And so the angle in between my feet should be a little bit less than 90 degrees, okay? And now, as I go up on my toes, I wanna keep my heels touching. And ideally, I wanna imagine kind of like a zipper. And so I'm gonna start from my heels, and then I wanna think about zippering up all the way up my body. So I'm gonna keep my legs together as I go up on my toes. So like as I do this, instead of my knees going out, I'm gonna keep my knees together. And part of how I'm gonna do this is you have heels together, okay? And I wanna pull my abdominal muscles in and up, almost like I'm trying to take my belly button and kind of scoop in, all right? And I need to engage my glutes so that I've got everything kind of all lined up together. Now, as we do this, I'm gonna leave the saber in the up position, okay? And so I'm not here, and it's not perfectly vertical. It's at that little bit of an angle, and now we're gonna go up. But we're gonna do these Muhammad Ali style. And so what that means is, you don't start counting until they start to hurt. And so once you can feel it in your glutes, once you can feel it in your butt, then you start counting, and we're gonna go to 10. Make sure you're breathing, shoulder blades sliding down your spine. And you may be done. I'm on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I missed a couple of comments. Let's see. All right. And so what we did today is we did the twist. And we did that with 2 different timings, and we did the calves, okay? And now we're gonna add one more leg, and this is gonna be a moving lunge. And so I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna need to do so you guys can see this. What we're gonna do, okay, is I wanna think front knee 90 degrees, back knee 90 degrees, okay? And that's my down. Then when I come up, I step forward, 90 and 90. I come up, step forward, okay? So, all right. Move a couple more chairs here. out of the way. And then we'll talk about some lunge safety stuff here in just a second. There we go. All right, so how far away can I get you? Pretty far. Okay. Now, as I'm doing my lunges, I want to be very, very aware. I don't want, as I drop, I don't want my knee to extend far enough that it's covering up my toe. So if I look down, I need to be able to see the laces on my shoe. Kenny, I'm glad you made it. Oh, who's the other person that said hi? Ryan, glad you made it. All right, so also with the lunge, I want to keep my hips square in the direction that I'm going. So my back foot, I'm not going to have it out to the side. I'm going to be on the ball of the foot so that my knees are both in the direction that I'm lunging, okay? And so we're going to have to, I think we're going to have enough space for like 3 or 4 of these going in one direction, and then we'll have to turn and we'll do some more and so forth, but we're going to do 10 of these. So lift on the up, step through. As you drop into the lunge, that's 1. Lift on your way up. As you drop into the lunge, 2. Yeah, we're gonna be able to get 3. We're just gonna kind of scrape the wall when we do it. Okay, and then on the up, I'm gonna turn, just like we did earlier. You turn on the balls of your feet. Oh, this has definitely been the weirdest class we've done. All right, we got a phone call, we got a delivery, we got to share space with TRX. Now I'm going to go to 12 because I'd rather do 12 than 10, but there's some, that's our leg stuff, okay? And so we have the twist squat that we did earlier. We have the calves where we're zippered up. And you'll notice as I come up, you can see the daylight happening here, all right? But from my knees up, I have everything squeezed together. Depending on how your knees angle and stuff like that. Brooke, I'm glad you got to be in. Depending on how your knees angle, that might work well for you. It might work differently for you. You just have to kind of figure out how your body does it. And then next week, I'm gonna try going live from my computer instead of from my phone, just to see. I'm hoping it's gonna be easier to read everybody's comments and stuff. Does anybody have questions about stuff we did today? Kenny, do you want me to do a recap? I don't know how much you got. Thank you everybody for liking and reposting. This has been awesome. All right, so let's take a look really quick. Find out how many of these we've done. All right, so this is going to be, let's see, so we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is going to be Saber class number 8. Everybody that joined me for the workout, thank you. I'm going to squeeze in a little bit more because I want to hate myself tomorrow more than I'm gonna. And so we're going to do the twist squat again. I'm going to do this on a little bit higher difficulty. And so what you're going to see as I go is instead of going to the ball of the foot and then driving through the ball of the foot to come up, I'm going to twist onto like the top part of my foot. I'm going to have my toe pointed in this direction as I tuck it behind, so that this leg has to do a lion's share of the work on the way up. That's something that you want to make sure you've got your balance and you've got your form down before you start doing, because if you do those incorrectly, you're putting a ton of work on your knee joint rather than on your leg muscles. Fingers, Kansas City is not a very long drive for me. And so it is definitely someplace I want to try to do the cons. Like St. Louis and KC are both places that should be completely within my capacity. I just have to, I have to be a little bit more organized, a little bit more consistent. And now that I'm not using the third-party logistics to fulfill orders anymore, that's gonna create a little bit more opportunity to do events. So there we go. Oop. Oop, no, still doing it wrong. Oh, need a second. Thank you again, everybody that's just joining in. We're wrapping up class. And now as you do these, make sure as you drive up, you want to be squeezing your glutes. That is one of the ways that exercise can get you the HEMA cake, as it is sometimes described. But so I have toe pointed in the back, drive up, squeeze as I come up. Toe pointed in the back, or even if my toe is touching, I want to drive through the other leg on my way up. Okay. Yes, you should. Or Lupin, you could go live and do your practices. Like either one of those is completely acceptable and awesome. All right, I'm going to take a second and talk about the lightsaber of the day. This is the Mini Menace. And so this saber is actually double-ended, but it's one button that operates both. Now this is the older handle design. So now the button's a little bit different. The charger is the USB-C. But so both ends will match color because it's one electronics that operates both emitters. And so you can do what I've done, where I just have the single blade in. And when I need it, I can put the blade in the other side so that, however I've got to change it around, I can change it around.